Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen out there in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Land, I am the Schwantz27. I am joined for tonight's race in the commentary booth by my homie Drinks Glue. Normally I'm a cat person, but this is my number one dog. What's going on, Drinks Glue?
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for having me in the booth with you, Schwantz.
All right, so let's chat about what we are going to be doing tonight. We are going to be doing a practice race for the Battlegrounds event that is coming up very shortly in our community. In fact, the Uprising sort of qualifying race is going on right now, and we are going to be doing the Vector flag set. So way down there at the bottom, we are doing the Empire, the capital of the Empire, rather, for the flag set tonight. So, Drinks Glue, tell us what our racers are going to have to work with in tonight's race.
One of the unique things about the Vector flag set is that we're starting off with 7 characters, 10 espers. 13 espers is what's going to be required for the Kefka Tower skip. That's a lot of espers, so I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of skips tonight. You are getting a negative 10 magic power start, but you can get that 10 magic power back by taking care of the cell beast that's in Kefka Tower. That's typically the Toilet Atma spot. All espers will have 2 spells, and there is no support magic. There is no quick. There is no haste. There is no mute for Siren. Or excuse me, there is no mute for Tier 2 on Final Kefka. No support magic in this one.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to be too bad, but there are a lot of spells that we like that fit under that no support spells category. So as you mentioned, not only mute, also Berserk. If we encounter Magimaster, we're going to have to do it the hard way. Stop for Spicy Chicken, can't use that.
Yes, indeed.
Quick is also considered support magic, so no ATB fooling shenanigans. Dispel in case we get into some trouble. Lots of support magic that a little bit goes under the radar here.
And a little bit to harp on the checks a little bit. This is no free lunch or no free progression. So everything's going to have to be fought tooth and nail for it. Everything's going to have to be gone about the hard way in this one.
Yeah, so in keeping in line with the theme of the Gestalian Empire wanting to obtain that magic, every Esper only teaches 2 spells. The summons are more expensive than normal. There are no characters with natural magic in the seed as well. So that'll be interesting since we sometimes get some extra cool spells for free. Not happening this time around. Chests 40% random, so chests are going to be more lucrative than normal. Shops less lucrative at 10% random, including no experience eggs or illuminas in the shops. The prices are 90 to 125%, so they're about what they are normally, just slightly higher. And equipment relics are original plus 50% random, so there's a higher chance than in our standard race that somebody can equip something that they don't normally have. You want to talk a little bit about that fighting that you mentioned with no free progression with the enemy levels and some of the other stats in that realm?
Yeah, so in Worlds Collide, progress in this game revolves around what we call checks. And a check is going to be a character-related event that happens in the vanilla game that is kind of condensed in Worlds Collide. We just get down to the meat and bones. We just put the party against the monsters and we let them fight. So some of the events in the vanilla game, such as when you stumble across Celeste down there in that jail cell, you don't encounter a fight before you get her. If you happen to have Celeste and you go down to South Figaro and you come across that check, it's only going to be a high tier item. You will not get progression towards the end game, which is defeating Final Kefka. You will not get any progress towards that.
Yeah, so the other interesting thing, as we get closer towards the end of the seed, the statue bosses are shuffled amongst their vanilla locations. So Spicy Chicken, Goddess, and Doom will all be at least in Kefka's Tower. However, they will be at the highest of levels because we're going to be defeating enough characters in Espers 7 and 10 to actually get into the tower. So those are going to be some high-level bosses in the tower, but our runners at least can somewhat prepare for that, but not going to be an easy fight here.
And if our runners are fortunate enough to come across the Terror, that Terror is going to be entering many a party, because Terror has a preset ability, and that ability is Shock. In the vanilla game, you may have seen General Leah throw it off once or twice before he's murdered by the Kefka. But in Worlds Collide, Shock does exist and is very powerful.
Yep, so our runners will start with only 2 characters in this particular seed. So we're going to have a slower or a less hefty start than normal, as we also get -10 magic power, like you said. We're going to have to defeat Toilet Atma to get the +10 magic power, and we start with GP Range Strago and Sword Tech Locke.
Ooh,
So,
very spicy.
At least we've got some ways to deal damage to some tough bosses early on. GP Rain ignores defense, and Sortek 1 Dispatch also ignores defense, and 3 of our 4 runners here, Glue, heading into the World of Ruin to go get one of Locke's opening checks here.
Yeah, it won't be an Esper, but it will be a high tier item. You can also come across in World of Ruin Nars when you have Locke. You can unlock the Cursed Shield, and the Cursed Shield will have a much far less number of battles than in the vanilla game. In this preset, it's going to be between 8 and 14, I believe. So a little bit of a ways to unlock it, but totally worth it if it's on the lower end of that range.
Yeah, so that was the number 8, as you mentioned there on Jex's screen. Did get an Atma weapon out of one of the classroom chests. Keith pulled that out, so we already have an endgame weapon for our runners here, and this will be a choice between 2 high-tier items because of no free progression, a Genji Glove or an Ice Shield. Interesting choice. Jexy going for the Ice Shield that will teach us spells versus a Genji Glove, which may pay off later here in the run.
Yeah, that Genji Glove may pay off, but right now you only have half the equation, and you got so much more to go before you can even think about trying to put 2 weapons on lock.
Speaking of a weapon on lock, there is a Hawkeye there in the weapon shop that is the poor man's sniper there. So that's a thing that Locke can naturally equip. But he does have sword tech. Unfortunately, we don't have the objective to unlock all of the sword techs in this flag set. And it's going to be a tall order to get him up to level 44 to unlock sword tech 7, which is one of the more powerful sword techs. But we'll see what else our runners decide to do, because we do have that Atma weapon, remember, that Locke can naturally equip.
In our normal flag stat, if you get to level 40, you probably went too far. But with you starting with 2 characters and you need 1 more character and 1 more Esper in our flag stat, it's not out of the range if one of our runners was to end up level 44 and get that Sword Tech 7. I always view that Sword Tech 7 as a free offering almost, and it's super powerful if you can get there.
Yeah, so we do see that Falcon Hit did get bullied a little bit by that NPC. Y NPC is set to Imperial, so you'll change the sprites of anything into something Imperial, like some soldiers, some guards, Kefka, Gastal, etc., etc. Mr. Neradar says Curse Shield is at 8. That is a tough choice. With this start, we do have access to Strago, and one of his checks is Burning House, where we will fight a lot of enemies inside of the Burning House. So we could potentially uncurse that shield relatively quickly, depending upon what we find. And Jexy getting PM Stalkers and a Monster in a Box, one of the only ones that reward XP, so he's going to take that.
Yeah, another interesting choice with the Curse Shield is you only have 2 characters right now. So, and obviously we have enough looting to see if we're going to come across a ribbon or a peace ring. But taking, fighting all these bosses at level 3, level 5, 1v1 is a daunting task for anybody, much less these talented runners.
Yeah, Fitz here takes off the Moogle Charm and also took off the Curse Shield prior to the battle, and then equipped it as soon as he got in battle. So this will count as 1 battle to uncurse the shield, and he was allowed to control his lock. So nice heads-up play to get around the Curse Shield here. Meanwhile, speaking of plays, Jex Varrock heading in to the Phoenix Cave, which is another one of Locke's checks. Probably won't be taking the 1v1 dragon fight here, but will be getting a reward here out of the Phoenix Cave and some treasure chests.
Yeah, one of the nice things about going to the Phoenix Cave really is, one, not a lot of people are going to go there. So if it's something that's super, super powerful, it really comes in handy and gives you an edge. And 2, there's quite a few chests on the way. You can get 8 or anywhere between 8 to 10 chests, depending on how far out of your way you want to go. So it's a nice move to work it into a natural looting phase.
Yeah, it's a couple of minutes to walk around down here. But at the same time, right, like you mentioned, people might not want to
And
do this because it is a little bit of a lengthy check. However, with the no free progression flag, this is one of the very few checks where you actually aren't forced into fighting anything, but it can be a character or an Esper, just due to the nature of how long this check is, right? So that's why it's not included in the no free progression list.
yeah, this one, excuse me, the Phoenix Cave and the Ancient Castle, you do get rewarded for your trek all the way down there.
All right.
And
Sorry,
looks
go
like, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the man in the top right corner. And look at this from Jack's point of view. If you're not familiar with our Worlds Collide community, Falcon Hit, wears a lot of gold around his waist. So our runners know that. Jax Rock knows that more than anybody. He knows in a straight up race, he's gonna fall behind Falcon Hit as most people would. So it's a smart strategy in my opinion to go out of your way and see if you can get an advantage over him just by some RNG luck.
Yeah, so one free fits in the world of Ruin South Figaro finds some super balls in that
Very
item
nice.
shop there. So he's trying to sneak past the dragon. Oh god.
Oh, that's very risky, but I love it. Oh, he got
No
wet
risk
feet.
it, no biscuit, right?
He got wet feet. Oh no.
There we go. There we go. Thank
we
God. Whew. Speaking of snipers, one free fits, finding some in the weapon shop there. So World of Ruin South Figaro shops proven to be, halfway decent for what it is. Gonna pick that up for Locke. That's a nice pickup there, especially early in the game.
Yeah, that sniper will be useful until his Atma weapon can come online later in the seed.
Yeah, so 63,000 for Tizen Thief, and it is not an Esper, it is an item, because he said 63 and this is yours versus 63 for the Shiny Stone. So I don't think we'll be purchasing it unless it's really cheap. Ghost Sprite here at the end of the Phoenix Cave for Jex, and it looks like we got our first Magicite on the board here at 6 minutes and 50 seconds or so, and Shoat is a nice one to have.
Yeah, Shoat knocks off one level of instant death, possibly for Tier 1 Final Kefla with Petrify.
Alright, there's a ribbon down in the basement of South Figaro, so we don't have to worry about the Cursed Shield ill effects all that much anymore. And a gem box for Keith, so that's a nice cool 30,000 in cash, basically. Fuel your economy for those Super Balls to take in. So, Glue, let me ask you a question. You start with Locke and Strago. After you do your looting and shopping, where are you going first?
With how generous chess can be, I'm a big believer in you go to what's closest and what's feasible. So with 40% chest and 2 characters, I am going straight to loot until I have enough stuff to good stuff. Until I have enough good stuff to kill some stuff. And then once I'm that, I'm going to the closest next possible check. And really by the looting areas, that's probably either going to be the South Figaro Cave, or that's going to be Burning House, depending on where I end up when I cross that threshold in my mind.
Unfortunately, Fitz finding out that there was a sniper in a chest all along, and he did not have to burn 19k on it. But hey, there was a Genji glove in the weapon shop, right? So
Yes,
if he gets Terror, we can go get that Genji glove later on in the seed. And here's an enemy that has very high defense, but let's throw some money at it, and GG, Nuff Jigglypuff, there that goes. Strago is now online with Ice too.
Another problem you can throw money at and it goes away.
Yeah, so South Figaro Cave is a very fast check. That's Locke's third check. There's just a boss there right away, and you can take off the Moogle Charm, and you can heal yourself up right before diving into that battle. I like that as an option for sure. It depends on what I find, right? In this seed, with the stuff that we have, especially with GP Rain and finding those Super Balls in the shop, that makes the dive into Burning House a lot less stressful than normal, right? Because if you can't beat the boss at the end of Burning House, you're in some deep trouble. But with Super Balls, you're pretty much guaranteed you'll beat almost whatever's at the end there.
Yeah, the big problem with Burning House, obviously you're going to have to go through some flames that aren't very easy to dodge, so you have to commit to some encounters. So it's a huge time sink, and at this point in the game, there's no guarantee you can defeat what's at the end of that cave without Super Balls. So having those in the bag makes Burning House a lot safer for Fitz.
Yeah. Well, even still, there are still bosses that would be a big problem to get to the end with Super Balls, right? Bosses with multiple parts, or
Yeah,
something like Rexol, something like Stooges, right? Those would be horrific. Tentacles would be just unbearable as well.
yeah, and there is no save point in there, so if you go, throw those balls and get low rolls and it's multi-target enemies, you've already sunk yourself.
Alright, so Falcon Hit following in the footsteps of Jex Farrak, gonna get his shoat at the end of Phoenix Cave, and Keith is also doing it, so it looks like everybody going down to Phoenix Cave. Fitz, however, is gonna check the bottom of Fanatics. Let's peek it, let's see what's here.
Let's see what we're cooking.
Okay, so with that being a merchant sprite, our character is not there. So we've narrowed down to where our character could be into, either Ebbets Rock or Burning House, South Figaro Cave, or as Tornado Keith puts in chat, Kefket Norsh. I wouldn't do Kefket Norsh right away with two characters, right? Because then you're going to have to 1v1 the boss. That always feels bad.
There was a crazy guy last night that went up there with two characters. 1v1 the boss, and fortunately, he lived to tell the tale, but got a red cap for his troubles and nothing good.
Hey, listen, you made good use of that red cap with your Valiant Knife, at least, right? That's the one case where a red cap would actually help.
Well, I believe that was my third red cap, so I was kind of curious.
You just collecting all the Mario hats, right?
Yeah. I drew an M on one. And...
So, that's another Esper there. Falcon Hit is going to grab Shoat. Same thing with Keith. And now our runners have to decide what we want to do, as Falcon Hit's trying to make up his mind where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or was he just going slow to not proc the wrath of a potential Doomgaze? That's not how that actually works. You can fly into Doomgaze no matter how fast you're going if you're using the A button. If you use the Y button, actually, when you're flying the airship around, that's when you can't trip over Doomgaze. Fun fact.
Yeah, but the slower you fly, the more suspense you build for the audience, and Falcon's Hit is a little bit of a showman, so that may have been what he was doing.
Hey, when you're on Restream, you do fun things like, buy rename cards, and you meme a little bit. You suplex the train to kill it,
Yes,
Things
indeed.
like that.
You pet some dogs.
Yep. Alright, so Fitz looks like with some of the levels that he got from taking off the Moogle Charm, he's doing the Drinks Glue play here of going to South Figaro Cave.
Yeah, go to what's closest. And everybody else is kind of is at somewhere we don't know what's going on, so Fitz is going to branch off the known path here a little bit and give us some more information about this seed.
Snow Muffler's in the armor shop there for South Figaro World of Ruin. That's the place to be in this seed tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, Fitz takes his free heal, and let's see what it is.
Oh, speaking of suplexing.
Unfortunately, you can't suplex with a sword tech, but this is a pretty good boss to see here if you're Fitz. Phantom Train isn't too scary, except for Evil Tooth, but Fitz doesn't have the abilities right now for Evil Tooth to wipe himself, so this is pretty fortunate right now for Fitz.
Nice. A Thunder Rod it is, and
very nice.
Phantom Train is done, getting past that first boss. Meanwhile, Jex is in Thamasa, so this might be our Casa del Fuego play. Hey, there's character number 3. Oh boy, with the Magitech.
With 11 magic butts.
Yeah, so the question is, when do you go and do Toilet Atma to get that plus 10 magic power restored back onto your characters?
Maybe if I came across a Terra, it would enter my mind. But Glock has low magic tech, and then magic power, and Strago isn't far ahead of them. So really, it's going to be offense that gets them through this. Physical attacks that does the offense for the seed.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, now we also have another decision to make once we get Celeste. Right? We talked about the flags here, and if you go through and do the end of the Magitech factory, you do get the Magitech upgrade, which gets you Tech Missile. However, you also forget 10 spells that you've learned. So that could be a bit of a pickle, because then you have to relearn them by putting the Espers back on. So, again, we still need Celeste in order to get to that point, but that's an interesting wrinkle to throw in here as well, now that we have a Magitech user.
Yeah, and you with excuse me, no gray magic available. That's gonna be all your black spells and all your healing spells that get wiped. And with only two spells on an Esper, there's not a lot to go around. Bit's fighting Zetzer here in Doma with his new Cyan.
Yeah, so all of a sudden the world is pretty open for Fitz. Unfortunately, this Setzer natural jump, but can't really equip very much. He's still got Super Balls, and he'll survive this because he's level 9. It's probably time to use that Pearl Rod.
Yeah, this is gonna eat into his stash of Super Balls and definitely take away that Pearl Rod.
Yeah, so this on the other hand is an awesome boss to see when you have Super Balls. Ton of HP, right? And Super Balls don't care about the high both physical and magical defense that Doomgaze has.
Yeah, and Doomgaze is one of the more rewarding bosses from an XP standpoint. So it's great to see in this situation where you can just use consumables on him. Is that enough? That is not enough.
He may just look like Bones, but he's a thick boy tonight. Oh, these are not good Burning House encounters either. These do not give any XP, so the Burning House is a trap this seed.
Yeah, one of the benefits of going to the Burning House and getting all those flame encounters is you do get all those levels, but if you're fighting Templars, if you're fighting level magics, that's not what you want to see. Clutch finish there by Fitz to get through that Doomgaze. That's an awkward feeling when your Super Balls and consumables run out and you still got to finish off a tough boss.
Yeah, just throw some money at your problem, though, and Fitz takes care of it. Falcon Hit is in Ebbett's Rock here, grabbing his coral, and Keith is in World of Ruin Albrook. The other Keith, Tornado Keith, in the chat suggested that there was an experience egg in Albrook. I saw Atlas Armlet and Dow Robe. I did not see an EXP egg, but if he did, I don't think anybody else went to Albrook yet.
At this point, they're all rocking and rolling. There's no point to go to Albrook unless you get desperate. For some money.
Ooh, that is a
Very
juicy Illumina. And guess who could use it?
Oh,
nope, not Cyan. Setzer can.
Everyone in the grandma can use it.
Speaking of juicy, upper right-hand corner of the screen, it's Fun Baba time. Thankfully, we got Super Balls, and they see us roll in some damage. And that is the Mean Green Machine taken out at Ebbett's Rock here. So we'll see what the reward is.
Yeah, the whole cosplayer goes down for Falcon Hit.
Another Esper. See if it's got any decent spells. Meteor is useful for non-elemental damage.
Meteor is very underrated. Everybody
it's
fades
not
it,
very good.
Obviously, it's not very good. That's why nobody uses it. But when you have nothing else, it's better than an Ice 2.
Oh, for sure. Because the potential is there to, for non-elemental magic, and it hits everything on the screen. Problem is, it's not very powerful for such high magic cost. That's like the drawback here. So Jex is picking up more money than he's throwing at these enemies. However, he's not picking up any XP, which is the reason why we're in here.
He is doing his Curse Shield, though, so he's getting that out the way.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually.
He knows those Templars are no threat, so you might as well.
Yeah, so do enough of these battles, and you'll have the shield uncursed by the end of it here. Oh, there's a nice chest. Dragonhorn. And we picked up Boots along the way, but he's going to be happy when he gets Setzer, at least.
And when he finds his Setzer, and right now we don't see anything on Fitz that Setzer would make extra juicy, but if he happens to stumble across it, nobody else is probably going to come across that Dragonhorn. The seed's way too open for Fitz to go to Burning House, so Jex just carved out a little advantage for himself.
Yeah, well, see, this is part of the running psychology, right? Where if I know that Fitz is in my race, I know that he likes doing the Burning House. So I'm expecting that he's going to go there at some point, as the other three runners have all dove into the Casa del Fuego, as it's affectionately known here in the community. Alright, so Jex is at the end here. We get to see what the boss is. Making sure to load up on his consumables before he fights it.
Yeah, hopefully it's nothing too rough, because he's invested a lot of time in this burning house.
Oh, here we go. You love to see it.
Yeah, beautiful.
The mascot for our on-again, off-again league, Ultros. This is Ultros number 3. We don't have Sketch, but we could end the fight right away if we did. However, this shouldn't be a problem for any of our runners that decided to go Burning House.
Yeah, Jexy's got enough consumables to get through this. And even if his consumables don't get through it, just chipping away, he'll be fine.
Ooh, nice proc.
Very nice.
Alright, so let's talk about the options that Fitz now has with Cyan and Setzer. See, we did go to Kolingen, which is where we found that Illumina for Setzer. That's considered a free check. Oh, that's a Magus Rod. One of our 4 dead checks in the seed here at the Burning House. Yick. So, Glue, you would be way out in front of me now if we were racing 1v1 in this race here.
Yeah, maybe the thinking that here is that, hey, in the top right of the screen, I see the multi-time world champion. I got to do something different. And Falcon Head is also thinking, hey, all these guys are probably going to go here. Why don't I go here? and
reverse of the reverse psychology.
You've
just activated my trap card.
I know what I bring to the table. If I can stay on the same path, I can just let the skill take over.
So
but
yeah,
3 of our 4 orders are going to eat it at the end of the Burning House.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh my god, it's 55,000 in World of Ruin for Tizen Thief, so nobody's getting that today.
Inflection is everywhere.
So let's see what the reward is here. Oh no, we're in Ebbets Rock, so it's Esper. Got it. That's Fitz's first, actually, so he's on the board there. Our only runner that did not go to Phoenix Cave.
Yeah, and the world is still wide open for Fitz. He's got Dome of Dream, which is arguably one of the better checks in the game, even in this flag set where it doesn't give you all the sword techs, because it's two possible pieces of progression, and then a free high tier item at the end of it.
So Dream 3 is not considered a free check because you did
the rest. Not.
Yeah, you did all the rest of the dream.
Today I learned.
Yeah, there you go.
Still a small chance it is dead though, but
that is true. And same thing with Mount Zozo is actually another one of those we were mentioning before, right? The checks that are not considered dead because of how long it takes to get through it, and it's literally not free progression. You got to pay the Rustrid guy $1,000. So we can get progression out of Mount Zozo as well. So that rounds out Cyan's checks. For Setzer, we could search the sky for an Esperan item, or we can go to Daryl's tomb. And with those snipers, you have to think about, I kind of want an offering for these snipers. Do I go to the checks where they have monster in a boxes in them? Do I gravitate towards those checks a little bit more? And Daryl's tomb is one of those that does have a monster in a box. Can't go out that way, Fitz.
Yeah. Actually, right now, Fitz, that's the only check he has where he has a monster in a box, besides going into a regular, or just going in the Narsh and going into the training house.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something to keep in mind if he comes across Egger later. Maybe he heads down to the underground and knocks out those 2 chests in hopes of finding that offering.
Yeah, so well, there is a request, and I've coded it up to make Lone Wolf considered be not free progression, same with Tizen Thief, but as of right now, Lone Wolf and Tizen Thief don't fall under the no free progression checks. And choo choo, it's Evil Toot. Thank God it's not that bad.
Yeah, a little debilitating, but we're not doing sword tech on ourselves, so no memes today.
And that's why Falcon Hit is the 7,000 time champion, knows that Ghost Train is undead. Sword Tech 3, it will do damage against fractions of the boss's HP, and that only works if the boss is susceptible to instant death. So Very nice heads-up play there from Falcon Hit on this boss.
Very nice indeed.
All right, getting his third character. Happy to see Cyan, or maybe not, with 11 magic power.
So at this point, I would have called Fitz, the early leader to get to the clubhouse first. But now that he's going into his own version of Burning House,
Yeah.
Any advantage he had, he's giving right back to the runners.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate, but you know what? If everybody's doing it, you're not losing time overall, right? It's just a net yick.
All right,
Yeah.
Jexy getting his Cyan, so the world's opening up a little bit for Jexy now.
So just to go back to the Lone Wolf discussion, the reason why it was not no free progression is because it was Mog's only check at one point. And now that's not the case, so that's why we revisited that line of thinking. Setzer here with natural jump for Falcon Hit. I don't think he got that Dragon Horn from the Burning House. Let's see.
I don't think he did either.
Nope, he did. And he's got a merit award too, so.
Of course he did. But now, well, I guess Setzer can do some jumping now.
Yep. Grabbing a big beefy sword to do that jumping with.
All right, let's see where Jexy is going to take us.
Oh, Falcon Hit,
no.
not ready for Doom Gaze. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Doom
but,
Gaze claims another victim. Get your F's in chat.
That's very unfortunate, but if anybody ever can recover for that, we know who it could be.
So Setzer comes off the board on his side and back on the board on Jexy's side, and we'll see if it comes back off the board again. Oh man, I love this game.
All right, Falcon Hit going to give it another try, just in the other world this time, though. The safer world, maybe.
Yeah, this is the dream play that we were talking about. Another stack of cash in the clock, the gem box.
Mm-hmm. Now, the gem box typically is one of those things you're going to sell. In some of our other Battlegrounds flag sets, Ultima is unlocked, and most World Collides flag sets it will not be available just because of the sheer power of it and how much it gets spammed. But we do have it available in some other flag sets you may see.
Yeah, the problem is in all of the other flag sets where Ultima is available, it costs 254 MP. So if you're casting that twice, you're going to need to throw out over 500 magic points in one single turn, which is that's a lot. All right, so here's our first look at Cyan's Dream, and it is leader, so that's like what, chocolate almost, like.
That's like, you never been to Olive Garden and they give you the free chocolate mints after dinner.
Yeah,
that's what that's like.
Yeah. It's the free the Andes or whatever they're called. All right, so Jex resets as well, so we take Setzer off the board for him. So that's Doom Gaze 2, our runner's 1 so far.
And Falcon Hit finding Mog is running around down there in that dream, so he'll get that at the end of this if he can finish it out.
All right, so multiple paths through the seed here. You don't necessarily need Setzer right away. And Setzer is going to be a problem for Fitz right now, because he's swinging that Illumina and he's a little confused.
Yeah,
and
overflow is
no longer
joke.
a problem. Keith getting bullied a little bit here by Fun Baba. I actually did Sword Tech 2 for Retort, because he knows that Fun Baba does a lot of physical attacks. And Retort will clap back, as all the kids say nowadays, for a lot more damage with a counter attack, right? So that's a good heads-up strategy there from Keith.
Yeah, Keith's still searching for that third character. He'll get it after he's able to take Fun Baba down here, but he's falling a little bit behind some of the other guys so far.
There it is. He'll get his second Esper.
Beautiful. I agree or disagree. Is this a pivotal moment in the race for Falcon Hit right here? If he gets out of this Dome of Dream, if this is nothing too daunting here on the throne to challenge him, do you think he gets away with this and he's just off and running? and it's up to the other racers to catch him.
I think it'll depend on what is behind Setzer's checks versus what's behind Mog's checks. Right now, we know Setzer is an Illumina, which is very helpful for almost all of the characters, right? Because I think most of them can equip the Illumina. And we did see that Doomgay's spot was an Esper. We don't know what Daryl's tomb is yet. Oh, and there is an egg and a clock there for Fitz. So Keith must have gotten that as well. And it's bathroom break for Falcon Hit. So yeah, easy dream tonight.
Very easy.
So with Mog... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, my dog.
No, I was going to say with Mog, right, we've got Lone Wolf, and we've got the Moogle Defense, as well as Kefkat Narsh, right, because it's basically right there. So we have the same amount of checks. It's just, you know, what is more beneficial to the runners. And if we do find out that Doomgaze is the way forward through the seed, then that puts Fitz at a much stronger position, being our only runner that's gotten past Doomgaze so far.
Mm-hmm. And at some point in time, you know, when Falcon Hit gets out of this, he'll be strong enough so that he's not afraid of Doomgaze. So just when next time he's in the neighborhood, he'll give him another visit, and he'll take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, if you just pop over to the World of Balance, which is where all of his remaining checks kind of are, right? Mm-hmm. Except for...
well, he can still do Mount Zozo.
Right.
Yeah.
There it is, our little Moogle friend. And Fitz is going to give us Daryl's tomb. So this right here is the pivotal moment in the race. What is Daryl's tomb? Hey, Mario hat for Keith.
Very nice. Draw that M on it and get the jumping.
Well, Setzer can use it for jumping, so he's basically Mario, right?
Basically.
All right, and that was an Esper on the Doma throne. So 2 Espers, 1 character there in Cyan's dream.
Best case scenario when you do a dream.
Yeah, so I don't think Mog had anything special as his command. I didn't quite get to see it.
I don't think... Oh, here we go. He just did the Moogle Charm, so there's nothing special about that Mog. Alright, where does Falcon go next? Looks like he's going to do Mount Zozo. And yes, he is. As we mentioned earlier, even though Mount Zozo, there is no boss. Ooh.
That's what happens when you have GP Rain. You're throwing too much money at people.
That's very unfortunate.
He's got to go to the ATM here.
An even worse feeling is if he gets an encounter that doesn't give GP.
All right, it's one of the snails there for free Fitz at the monster in a box. So we're gonna nope out of that.
Yep.
Let's see what's at the tomb. Keith, meanwhile, taking down the ghost train.
Very nice, Keith.
Oh, Golem is the reward on the tombstone for Daryl's tomb. So we do eventually have to get either Mog or whatever's at Kefkat Narsh. But Golem is huge.
Very huge. Especially once in the spot and everyone else may not go. They've already gone to Burning House, so that out of the way check feeling has already been fulfilled. Some nice procs for 1 free Fitz. Some very nice procs, and down goes Narappa the Rappa.
Alright, so that's Golem for Fitz. Keith just picked up his Cyan. Putting the Magus Rod on him to bump up his magic power to 18.
Beautiful. Absolutely majestic. And good on Jaxie. Jaxie just finished the Dome of Dreams, so he has Mog stuff now, so maybe he follows in Falcon's footsteps, goes to Mount Zozo. Or maybe he goes straight to Narsh.
Yeah, so for Fitz, this means that the only checks that he has left is Dream, Zozo, and Kefkat Narsh. So we'll see where he decides to go next.
Yep, he's going to Zozo. He'll be right behind Falcon.
Yeah, so I know we had talked about this a little earlier, but now that we have 4 characters, are you debating going to do the Toilet Atma spot? You could do it with 2 characters, because we still have to split up our party into 3 for Kefka's Tower. Or is this still too early?
Well, right now you have Strago doing Ice 2 for all your magic, so if you go there at this point to take it on with two characters, there's no guarantee you win, and there's no guarantee it benefits you anytime soon. So it's still faded in my mind.
All right, Keith grabbing Setzer. And Jex in the
Fair
Coliseum. More dragon horns.
The casino of Worlds Collide, if you will.
Yeah, so even... Oh, no. I forgot to take the shield off. Oh, yes. That's incredible. That's a galaxy brain play there.
You the cookie checks. You deserve it, my friend.
Oh, Genji shield for the dragon. There from Falcon Hit. It was the white dragon. And Fitz is going to go check the reward first and then come back from the dragon later, perhaps? And
maybe he phased the dragon altogether.
Keith survives the level check for Doomgaze.
Very nice, Keith.
And it's a shiny
Another
stone
red cap
for Falcon Hit and for Fitz. Yeah. So that'll give them 5 and 4 Espers respectively. So yeah, Mog is our... either Mog or Kefka at Norse is our next character. And Coliseum AI gonna Coliseum AI using Scan. the one support spell we actually have. There we go.
This is a classic example of sometimes why the Coliseum does not pay off.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, fixed ice. Ooh, and a Valiant Knife too.
Oh, sometimes it pays
off.
Okay,
oh wow. This is gonna be an interesting fight.
Luck is not in favor to take this dinosaur down.
Yeah. He's feeling a little sick today. It's like Michael Jordan with the flu in the playoffs.
That actually wasn't a flu. The story behind that was the night before, supposedly he had ordered a pizza from Pizza Hut, and the person that delivered it was obviously a Jazz fan, and they believe he may have gave him food poisoning. So,
I figured he was actually just up all night gambling and didn't get any sleep. So either one of those is a believable story too.
He didn't gamble while he played. He just went away for 2 years for no reason, but definitely not because of gambling.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
He loved baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I love baseball too, but... Alright, so Jack's doing a little reset action, and oh no, his last save was way back in Cyan's Dream before Mog.
Oh, that's very unfortunate for Jax.
Alright, so... I'm sorry, go ahead.
That is about as backbreaking as it can get for Jaxie, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's awful. I mean, thankfully, this opponent, it's just a time waste, but... Yeah, that's kind of annoying.
Definitely.
Alright, so Falcon Hit here, doing the Moogle defense, and it is a Mog sprite, so this will be not a character. This is an Esper or an item. So we're down to Lone Wolf or Kefka at Narsh for our next character here.
And remember, if Terra is up there, Terra is going to come with Shock, albeit with low magic power. But Shock, even with low magic power, is a pretty powerful ability.
Alright, so Fitz is actually going to get his 5th character before the other runners are. However, he is going to have to immediately then go do what Falcon Hit is doing to catch up with him. Because we know that that's where the path through the seed lies. Doomgaze being Doomgaze here for Keith, unfortunately. Just pointing at people and saying, "You're dead. You're dead. I win. You're dead." Alright, he gets through that fight, so he's our second runner with Setzer, actually.
Yeah, and Falcon Hit took on one of the wolves that is standing between him and the end of the Noogle defense. I wonder if he did that on accident, if he did it on purpose. If he did it on purpose, I'm trying to figure out why he may have done that. It had to be an accident. I don't think you fight a random wolf here at this point in the game for any notable reason I can think of.
I mean, levels are key in Worlds Collide, right? So whenever you can get them, let's get them. Jexvarok learning to take the chest there after the check is over.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way, that if you go in there, you watch Drago's wife that is cheating on him with Sprite. And also, if you go outside to try to get to the chests that are in the guard tower, you watch his son get raised by another man as well.
Yep, it's a little awkward.
It's very awkward to see Edgar teaching his son how to fish.
Ooh. This is an awful boss here.
One of the thicker bosses.
The Chad.
One of the thicker bosses HP-wise in Worlds Collide.
Yeah, I think we used our Pearl Rod already on Doomgaze. It would be good for this fight, but if we used it on Doomgaze, then that's totally understandable. Alright, so Fitz is going to pick up his Mog here after his bathroom break fight.
Yeah, after he's done with this, he'll be right behind Falcon Hit going in the Narsh.
Juicy sniper proc. Gotta love it.
Very nice. Out comes the last consumable.
Yeah, Super Balls become generally ineffective after... Well, not ineffective, but less effective after you get to level about 15 or so. You could probably do more damage with your attacks than with Super Balls.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon Hit in a bit of trouble here, as his party is dangerously low HP.
Yeah, he was one bolt edge away from eating it, but he's got him back up now.
Keith grabbing the Illumina from Colin Jin as well. So he's going to have to figure out what to do with that. He also has the Experience Egg, so he's going to get his Atma weapon online earlier than the rest of our runners will. Because he's had it for much longer than anyone else has. So Keith may catch up real fast in terms of battles, even though he's looking behind just from the counting numbers right now.
Yeah, you can see Falcon Hit struggling with Charanook here. It only takes one character to get good, as the kids say, to get everything rolling and coming into place for you.
Jex is running up to the wolves and saying, "Fight me, bro," as well. So maybe this is a conscious thing. Maybe they're feeling a little underleveled, because we also haven't fought any difficult bosses, and the more difficult the boss, the more XP you get. So maybe our runners are feeling like they're not hitting things as hard as they want to, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, easy bosses are nice, but they also don't help you level up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so eventually that's Palador for Falcon Hit.
And then we know that progression begins and ends at the top of Narsh now. We'll see what Falcon Hit leads us to.
A lot more Mogs.
A few more. It would have been beautiful if he went back and turned them all into Imperials, but...
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that. Is this a walk of shame without a warp stone, or does he actually want this treasure?
I think it's a walk of shame.
Ugh. Keith in the Coliseum as well. Let's see if he finds that dragon horn, or rather that Valiant Knife. He does see the fixed dice. There's the Valiant Knife for
there it is.
For Magus hats. God, there's some great stuff in there. There's an Imp Halberd too. I saw we had Imp armor. So
Keith,
lots of cool stuff.
He's going for the trap.
Well, you know what? He saved before this, right? Question mark.
He did.
Let's hope.
But
he's got Setzer with an Illumina. This should be okay.
Yeah, but choosing between a Valiant Knife and a Fixed Dice, you always choose the Valiant Knife, even if you're not sure if somebody can equip it. Fixed Dice is a trap.
Yeah, Coliseum AI gonna Coliseum AI as well here.
I did not know the Tyrannosaur was weak to ice, so that's another thing I learned tonight.
I was today days old when.
Just another reminder, if nobody will lead me, he was weak to ice.
Listen, that's why I love watching races, right? You learn something new every time you watch. So there you go. some game knowledge to go forward. Meanwhile, Falcon hits the first run into the top of Norsh, aka the Promised Land, and it looks like Lone Wolf is our progression here. What's it going to be? Ooh, wow! It's Gao.
Very nice.
My favorite character in Worlds Collide.
Yeah, the nicest thing about Gao is that you get 2 chances at an ability that could be game breaking, even though he's not available to attack.
Or you can get Runic Control Gao and just hate yourself. Ugh, control health, it's even worse. But Gao coming in the party. Interesting.
Hey, very interesting.
Yeah, I think we've definitely bought some meat in some of the shops some of our runners have. Look at those levels for Falcon hit, 25 across the board. Thankfully, he knows that Doomgaze will not be at the bottom of this. Keith getting his fixed dice, not saving. Let's go see if we can get that Valiant Knife here.
Going right back in for it. Oh, beautiful, Keith. Take them all.
And instead of Kefka today, we've got Gastal.
Oh, nice. I can't remember where Tornado Keith, but somebody did find me. I just don't remember if it was Falcon Hit or somebody else. Like in Albrook when Fitz and Keith Nickrocks went there, or maybe at one of the more traditional stops.
Yeah, usually whenever you see dried meat, you buy it, just in case you run into Gao.
Mm-hmm.
Keith grabbing some awesome stuff out of the Coliseum there. So again, even though Keith has spent a little more time doing other stuff, he has the goods right now. He's got fixed dice and Valiant Knife and Experience Egg, right? So
yeah, where he can catch up that time is where Chatternook won't take him as long. Whatever it is, he won't have to stop and fight fights on the way to Chatternook. That's how he can catch up here.
Yeah, scooting past those soldiers, and it is the Stooges. Thankfully, we did learn Ice for that top Stooge there, Curly.
Yeah, the top one absorbs fire. One of the other jerks absorbs ice. I can never remember. The other one absorbs bolt.
Yeah, so if you look at the character sprites, the red one is the one that's the fire one. The blue one is the ice one, so that's Larry all the way in the back there. And the gold one absorbs lightning, so that's the front one there.
I never know. I've been playing this game for 26 years. I never noticed that.
There you go. This is why we're here in the commentary booth, giving just great insights.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I won last night's race, but clearly I don't know what I'm doing.
Listen, you should know this better than anybody. Every dog has his day, right?
Every dog has his day.
See what I did there?
I saw what you did there. Yeah, Tornado Keith always buy 2. I honestly always buy like 6 or 7, just because they're cheaper than a potion. And at the level 3, 4, and 5, when you're going to use it, characters' HP don't even go over 250, so you can save a couple hundred in GP.
Yep, for sure.
And then you don't have to worry about finding potions.
Falcon Hit pulling out the Demi spell on Larry, knowing that Larry is susceptible to instant death, but we don't have instant death right now. So again, just showing off. He knows what he's doing, folks.
Mm-hmm.
But Fitz is just steamrolling this fight. So
yeah, that's the power of the Experience Egg.
Oh,
Ooh, that's quite an Esper there for Keith.
oh God. So does Fitz get his party up, or does he just end this fight? He's gonna end the fight.
Yeah,
or not.
Just get it over with and get to the clubhouse.
Yeah, so this is the enemy scaling that's coming into play here, right? We're at CED plus times 2.5. So that's 12 plus 12 plus 6. It's level 30. I don't know what his level is, but these bosses are level 30 for both him and Falcon Hit. And I don't think they're level 30. I know Falcon Hit is 25, but okay.
And Fitz is around
30.
the same level. Fitz is the same level around, except for his Experience Egg user.
Right. Yeah, he's got one at 30 and the rest at 23. So That makes sense. Falconet's going to get XP on all of his characters here for winning this fight. And I was so busy I didn't even see what this was. It's Phantom. Okay.
It's
Esper
Phantom
for each
and
of those.
Phantom, and
two
you got
guys.
Gao, and now we're going to the Velt, and then we're hopping into the trench if we don't get a character on the Velt.
Yeah, so Falcon hit, when he reformed his party, he only put 3 members in the party, because we need that 1 slot for the reward on the Velt. So good heads up play there.
Did Fitz put 4 people in when he reformed the party?
I don't know.
We'll find out if he visits.
Oh, he didn't do Moogle defense yet.
Oh, he didn't.
Yeah, and you do a party reform after Moogle defense, so this makes sense here. Keith, meanwhile, is going to be our second runner with Golem. So this is also important. If our bottom runners are the only ones that get Setzer, and thus are the only ones that get Golem, that certainly will affect the final Kefka fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the only one with eggs. They're the only one with Golem. So while maybe behind against the clock against Falcon Hit, they do have some areas of... They do have some advantages that Falcon does not. I hope it can come to play out for them later on.
Yeah, I didn't even see this comment, Dragon Snacks. As the kids say, that was sort of my tongue-in-cheek for, I know that the kids don't say it anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like Steve Buscemi, with the skateboard in the high school hallway. How do you do, kids?
There is no one under 21 joining this stream tonight, I would predict.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If you are under 21, just stick around. I'm not trying to get rid of you.
Yeah.
But we know our demographics.
All right, Falcon Hit's looking for meat.
Yeah, he didn't find the meat earlier.
There's no reason to be at that shop unless you have no meat or Shadow, and he doesn't have Shadow.
There was another day I was looking for Phoenix Downs, and I happened to be in the area, so I stopped there for no reason. I'm sure if anybody was watching me, they thought I was a madman, but...
Alright, so we're in Nikea, which is where you get dumped out after the Serpent Trench, but there's our meat.
That's brilliant by Falcon Hit. I have a theory that if you have Gao and you need meat, that the script for the shuffling of items always puts it in Nikea.
Picking up an enhancer as well, so that'll be really good for our magic users. Because remember, we still haven't killed Toilet Atma for the plus 10 magic.
And if Strago can equip that, that'll inch him close to the 30 magic power.
He might be actually usable. Alright, so Keith heading into Cyan's Dream. He's going to grab his Mog, so he's on the right track here. Alright, so let's see. Is it Velt or is it Serpent Trench? It's got to be one of the two. So this is one of the things that I've been noticing with these two character starts is pretty linear seeds they've been, at least for me. That sometimes is the case and sometimes is not the case, but that's how the cookie has crumbled, to use a bad analogy to rile up my co-commentator about cookies. He's so mad that he's left the building. Alright, so let's see what the Velt's going to give us. You can only get the reward from straight-up fight formations like we are here, and if there are 4 or less enemies on the screen. So, we'll see if we get a reward. We do not.
I'm back. I threw the headset down after that cookie comment. I was curious, but I've recovered. No, I apologize. My dogs had walked in the room, so I muted my mic for a second.
It's all good. I figured you were disgusted at me, most likely, so...
A little this, a little that.
Oh, here's one of the worst fights to get on the Velt. Yick. At least they'll get 50 MP for this, but this feels just horrific.
No, I don't think he sticks around and finishes it. I think he's just trying to eat his pearls and get out of there. Or maybe he will fight it.
Yeah, unfortunately you don't get experience for this fight, and one of the only reasons to fight dragons is the experience you get. I mean, of course, there is the MP that for learning spells and the high tier item, but you're not going to get the high tier item in this case.
Hey, he's actually in danger with this slow Scar being with 2 characters eating it. Luckily, he's just throwing some dispels out there that aren't going to do much to him.
Uh-oh. Why do you got to say it? Why do you got to say it?
I have to give the other workers a chance somehow.
All right, so Fitz is done with his other Mog check, and he is also looking for meat. Thankfully, he stopped at the right spot. Jex, meanwhile, is going back to the Coliseum and remembering to save this time. Oh god, this fight, man. A comedy of errors.
And it's really more of a matter of principle. You can still run away and try to get an easier counter.
Oh Jesus!
But I would still finish it.
Wow.
Oh no.
Thank God Thank God for the Paladin shield. This race has been one interesting thing after another. All right, and it is the Serpent Trench because that was an Esper there at the Velt.
Yeah, the Coliseum has been a roller coaster of emotions for Jex Rock tonight.
Yep.
Right, well,
Denzel Washington clutching his chest.
Alright, so now we all just sit around and watch Falcon hit, kill some monsters. Fitz will be shortly behind him. And we all wonder, let's pause it a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat. What character do you think is going to be at the end of the trench? I know which one I want to think it's going to be, so I'm going to throw some emotes out there.
Yeah, I think Celeste would make it very interesting, right? Because, we said that if you do finish the Magitech factory, you do get the Magitech upgrade, but you also forget 10 spells. I think that would make things interesting, personally.
Yeah, and the only character that's casting a spell is Strago, and it's Ice 2, so you wouldn't lose much, but you would lose Strago's usefulness.
Well, I don't know where Fitz found it, and maybe this is in one of Setzer's checks, but he does have Fire 3. So that's the only spell that I've seen that's been somewhat useful.
Oh, it must have been Search the Skies.
Yeah. Jack's finally taken down Tyrannosaur for that fixed ice. And he's going to go after this Valiant Knife as well, I think. Or not.
At this point, if I'm Jax, I would just take one of every item in the Coliseum. I'd even take that Moogle Charm for a Hawkeye, just to send a message to the viewers that that man does not quit.
Yeah, at some point, though, there's the saying, the perfect is the enemy of the possible. At some point, you're like, okay, I have enough stuff. I'm good here. And Fitz, meanwhile, running away from the Serpent Trench. I don't think he's checked to Zen. He's going to find out it's not an Esper and get mad at himself and then go back through the trench.
Yeah, I think the play for this is he's at 6 and 8, so maybe he thinks he has to be at 6 and 9, but he actually has to be at 7 and 10, so he does need one more character no matter what. So maybe he's misconfused about the requirements, or misremembering the requirements and thinking this could get him his foot in the door, but it will not. And he's going to have a little sticker shock when he sees it 65,000.
No thanks. Yeah, there's almost nothing that item could be at this point that would be worth that amount of money.
Yeah, and
maybe
really
an experience egg at the start of the seed, but...
And at an hour, you could almost pick your high tier item for that price, or even this time to go here, and it almost wouldn't make a difference. Maybe an offering, but you've come this far.
Yeah.
Yeah, important thing to remember, ladies and gentlemen, the enemy is not Kefka, the enemy is not Doomgaze, the enemy is the clock.
Well, I mean, it is Doomgaze for Jex right now, but...
Yeah. Or the Coliseum. Sometimes the Coliseum is your enemy.
Yeah, so I've severely miscounted for Keith how many Espers he's got. So he's actually at 6. So he's actually even closer than we thought he was.
Finally, a break goes Keith's way.
All right, so we're gonna. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And at this point in time, when you start hitting those level 30s, that's when damage just starts, flying off the charts. So this is where if Keith is going to make a move, I think we start to see it.
Yeah, so we're gonna see from Falcon Hit's perspective what our character is, and Locke just is getting bullied. There's this video that I saw on my YouTube recommended, and it's like when the boss picks favorites with one of your characters, and it's the boss constantly killing the same NPC. Oh my god, it's Celeste!
It is Celeste.
Let me go buy a lottery ticket.
Well, they just had the 1.7 billion one. Somebody won that in Florida, so we were just a week away.
But they're still in Florida, though. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's Gal for Keith.
That was how you really feel.
Oh, Strago getting bodied.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is Falcon Hit gonna go to Magitech?
No.
Do you think he does?
I
think there's no way, Jose.
So this is interesting, right? Because you mentioned earlier that there was Kefka Tower skip at 13 Espers. So Magitech Factory, the first 2 checks are only Esper item. The only way you can get your 7th character is to get to Magitech 3. He also knows that Setzer is at Doma Siege, right? Behind Doomgaze. So he knows where a 7th character is. I wouldn't go all the way through Magitech Factory at the chance of getting a 7th character, even though it unlocks all the Magitech things for Cyan.
So here's what I think Falcon Hit is doing. He goes up here, he gets his dragon that catches levels up a little bit. Mm-hmm. He has a chance at an Esper for Tritalk. I don't think he has warp stones. So that, obviously he can't warp out of here. But also, if he can get an Esper here, he doesn't have to go all the way through Magitech, and he doesn't have to walk out from the number 24 spot, just from the Ifrit spot, which is
more palpable.
Going to save him double the time.
So 2 things. There were definitely warp stones in the same shop with the dried meat, so he probably picked them up. And
never mind.
You're absolutely right. He's probably hedging his bets, saying, even if one of the checks in Magitech is dead, surely both of them can't be dead, right? I'm going to get my 10th Esper from Magitech Factory, one way or the other. So I like that play as well. I agree. That's something that I'll do from time to time.
Yeah, there's only 3 more possible dead checks in the game, and it's highly unlikely that there are all these 3 where there could be progression. It's off the charts unlikely. Oof. Indeed.
Runner's having some difficulty here with some of these bosses.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's the higher scaling, yeah.
It definitely is. It's gotten away from them a little bit. They're not super behind it, but, when you're level 27 and the boss is level 32, they hit a little harder.
Yeah, because remember, the boss levels and HP MP go up 2.5, whereas your XP and GP only go up by 2. Right, so you're going to get less levels than the boss's scale, just by the very nature of how math works. Pearl Lance for Falcon Hit. That's the second one, because remember, he took out the White Dragon, who gave him his first Pearl Lance as the vanilla drop.
Mm-hmm. Was this Gao naked the entire time? Maybe.
Naked Gao.
Naked Gao, indeed. And if you're wondering why that may be, a big sin a lot of runners tend to make is that, as you mentioned, perfection is the enemy of fast. You don't need a full party all doing four really strong abilities. You just need 3. Mm-hmm. So if you can get 4, that is awesome. More power to you. But you really don't need to look for 4 all the time.
Yeah, I mean, With equipment, though, it's easy enough to just hit the optimize button and be done with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, Gao doesn't need everything. He just needs to be a warm body at this point.
Yeah, you need somebody to cast Golem, and, you know, as long as that character isn't Umaro, anybody can cast it.
Alright, so that's our Celeste for Fitz, and this is our Magicite for Jex. I think I've got the right totals now. But, of course, being the perfectionist, we're going to make sure.
So that's 7 characters for Fitz. If he heads straight into Magic Tech, he'll be a few steps ahead of Falcon Hit, but he'll have to hit both stops if this is an Esper for him.
Esper at the top of World of Ruin Narsh at Tritok Cliff. Oh, and saved. Falcon Hit is saved. That is Fenrir at the top there. Wow.
Pretty good feeling if you're Falcon Hit.
That is probably the worst Esper to see for if you're one of our other runners, right?
Mm-hmm. You don't want to see that guy get ammunition.
So, still got to go get our Setzer.
Yeah, he's got to stop and get Setzer. Fitz just has to go into Magitech, hope it's 2 Espers. And they'll enter in the tower roughly a few seconds apart. Maybe a minute, maybe a little more than a minute, but not quite. Now that's assuming this isn't a Magi Master waiting for one of them.
Ooh, a little Coliseum dip. Oh, Ragnarok. Wow. Coliseum
nice.
Giving the goods this seed.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Magus hat to get the Valiant Knife, but he's going to get some free Ragnaroks out of this. And like I said, you don't want to give that guy ammunition to work with. It's like giving a chimpanzee a machine gun.
Ooh. Elemental
no.
Shield for Fitz and a Genji Shield. Falcon Hit dodging the instant death
Very
attack
nice.
there. Getting that Ragnarok for lock.
Yeah, a quick check-in on Keith McRocks. He's having a little bit of trouble with the Chatternook, which is unfortunate. He's at a better spot offensively than when the other runners took it on. It's a shame he's running into this now.
Yeah, because I think he's got Dragonhorn fixed dice for Setzer. And
he has a Valiant
oh
Knife
god.
too.
Why are you hitting your own party?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Charm is awful when it's bad like this. Because there's nothing you can do to counter Charm.
Nope, you just gotta sit there and eat it. Alright, let's see what the first spot says for Fitz.
It's Vargas in the apple toilets. There we go. Alright, now Keith can dust himself off and collect his thoughts here. First dragon down for Jexy as well. Oh!
That's unfortunate for Keith.
Yeah, do you reset at this point here?
Can't.
I mean, the other option is to fight all of these wolves.
There is no right answer. There is no good answer at this point. You know, he doesn't know how far Falcon Hit and Fitz are ahead of him. He doesn't know that he's neck and neck with Jexy almost. There's no way he can know that, but there's no good answer. Do you fight your way out of this? You get all those levels.
Yeah,
that's a good question, Tornado.
Yeah.
Keith's Unite, we're not really sure when he last saved, but you know, if he saved back at the top of Kefka's Tower, this is the right move. Excuse me, not Kefka Tower, Kefka Narsh.
Yeah, because Kefka Narsh will dump you right into the house, and if you don't walk all the way down to the classroom to save, then you're right, he'll be 2 checks behind. Falcon Hit forgets his level check, or just didn't care about sets. Oh no, that Setzer coming in the party, right? So he had no choice. He did. Jex, meanwhile, is going to get his calmness protection at Daryl's tomb.
Yeah. No offering in here for Jex when he checks the monster in the box, but he'll get his calmness protection for sure. We still don't know where the offering was, and we're probably not gonna know based on the characters that get the characters that get our runners to the promised land. No need to keep searching for it.
Fitz in go mode there.
Very nice for Fitz.
So let's see if he goes to Toilet Atma here. So usually you put Toilet Atma with Party 2. It looks like he's only level 30 on some of his characters and 31. Yikes.
What he might do is load up, the right side, send them all the way through and clear it. Get the left and right guys on the switches, and then when they're on their switches, take their right side through, go back to Toilet Atma, and then go up and clear the rest of the middle path, and then come back and have a 2v2 party on both sides. That's definitely an option. That will get all of his characters more experience. It's just a huge time commitment.
Yeah, that's super duper long. Perhaps this is Overload Party 3. Go fight the first boss at Inferno, since you have to beat it anyway. And this dragon here with your full party, and then warp back out. If I was going to beat Toilet Atma, though, I would have done second party, and it doesn't matter. You're going to have to warp out twice anyway.
Yeah, I think he's going to take his party all the way through on the right side, because you can see how far he's taking his solo Celeste. You can't do this if you're going to warp out after you fight a dragon.
All right, so Keith does, like a machete, hack and slash his way through to get to Chatternook round 2.
CC Runner asking a very good question in the chat. With no free progression, some of the checks that are eliminated that cannot be progression, which would be an Esper or a character and only a high tier item, are going to be some of the easier checks you see a lot of players opening in Ultras League with, such as Shadow's check of at Gao's father's house, where he's just standing there by the well. You're not going to get any progression on the throne room if you happen to come across Edgar, and you will not find anything in the South Figueroa basement if you have a Celeste.
Yeah, so very specifically, so ff6worldscollide.com, shameless plug, has a wiki, and on the wiki page, it tells you what all of the flags are. So under the challenges flag, I think that's still the right flag. I don't know. We might have to reorganize this wiki by the tabs, but anyway, so under the flags for gameplay, it'll tell you that no free progression means that characters and Espers cannot be rewards from Auction House, Collapsing House, Figaro, Castle Throne, Gao Manor, Janin, Norrish Weapon Shop, Sealed Gate, Cave, and South Figaro Basement. So that's your list. And as we mentioned, depending upon when the next update gets pushed and what's included in the next update, Lone Wolf and Zen Thief might be added to that list. Because right now there are 4 quote-unquote dead checks in a no free progression seed, meaning you have to fight a fight and you won't get a character or an Esper.
But if those 2 are added, that would obviously cut that number at half down to 2.
Yep. I mean, Lone Wolf definitely just makes sense, right? Because it used to be Mog's only check, but...
So it had to be progress by default.
Yeah. And same thing with the Zen Thief. It's sort of counterintuitive, because you're just buying something, like in the auction house, So... Alright, Keith heading to the Veld here, so he's going to be able to grab Esper number 9, and then go through the Serpent Trench for character number 7. So all of our runners are in or around the same spot here. Falconet just getting bullied by the bosses tonight. Just Muddle City.
Yeah, we promise he has multiple
Population Falcon hit.
We do not lie to you about those. We promise they exist. He's just not having the best showing tonight. But even when he is off his game like this, he is not that far behind Fitz, who is in the tower and just took down the Inferno spot.
No.
Not at all.
All right, he's gonna get his go mode here.
Yes, you will.
He's gonna wish that he got that Esper a lot sooner, because that one is the one that has Fire 3 up on it. Excuse me. Taking another dragon here.
Yeah, he's not much different in levels than Keith. And keep in mind, he doesn't even have that one character that's really outclassing everybody because he doesn't have that experience egg.
All right, so let's see what Fitz does. Let's see if he does what you had thought, which is to go back with Party 3 and take on Toilet Atma and clear out the middle. Or if he just clears out the middle right here.
I don't think he goes back for Toilet Atma because he's so dependent. He's getting by so well without physical damage, but I may be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm almost certainly wrong. So.
All right, so Jex is in Ebbett's Rock. This is another Esper for him.
Mm-hmm. That'll put him one of each progressions away from getting to the Promised Land.
Yeah, he's got to go to Serpent Trench, unfortunately.
Yeah, so Keith is going to get a Sever character here very shortly, and then almost immediately after that, wherever he goes, he'll get his 10th Esper. So I would say Keith has made up some time, not enough so that he is a threat at the moment, but he is still a couple of the runners in front of him stumbling a little bit from becoming an actual threat. So
yeah, my worry with Fitz is his levels, right? They're pretty low. So he will get a lot of levels onto his party by doing this. He will lose some time, however, right? Because he's going to have to walk back through the tower a second time.
And he just went straight to the Guardian spot, so he didn't go back for that plus 10 magic power, but clearing the Toilet Atma, so...
Good point.
But he's swinging Atmas, he's swinging Illuminas.
Yeah. So Falcon Hit is getting his levels by killing dragons, but that's also increasing the scaling of the bosses, as he is now officially up to the maximum scale level of 50. With, 48 is the maximum, because he's got, 20 progression, right?
And he's got some level 34 characters. That's a 14 character gap. That's pretty. That doesn't seem like much, but that's huge in Worlds Collide.
All right, and here's the shuffled statues. So another point that I completely forgot. We said it an hour and 15 minutes ago, or hour and 20 minutes ago, is that statues are shuffled in their vanilla locations. So sending the full crew up the middle for these statues is another good play. Another reason why you do this.
And it would have been more ideal for Fitz if he could have found Goddess or Spicy Chicken here. Doom tends to be the easier of the three statues. So while Fitz is going to be able to send two characters to the side, if Falcon Hit, I missed his party composition. Let's see what he's doing. But if he doesn't, he's going to have to solo a Spicy Chicken and solo Goddess. I don't think he'll be able to.
Yeah, it'll be tough. Doom and me have personal beef, so I know that for most people, Doom is the easiest, but he has ruined a lot of runs for me too many times for me to bag on him.
Doom is in that category of Ifrit and Ifrit and Tritox, where you want to see them until you really don't want to see them.
Yeah, this phase 2, especially with Reflect and the image status, but Fitz, knowing that rods can't be reflected, pulling out the Pearl Rod, the weakness of Doom there, great heads-up vanilla knowledge play for him. Because phase 2 can be a problem if you don't have the stuff to deal with it.
Yeah, he slaps on that image so you can't hit him unless you have a guaranteed hit rate. And then he'll even nullify some elements at various points throughout the various spots of phase 2. So again, if you don't want to see him, you really don't want to see him.
And he hits like a truck too as well in phase 2.
Yeah. So Falcon Head's doing the same thing that Fitz does. He's really concerned about those levels, so he's gonna go in here and do at least a partial clear, maybe a full clear. We'll find out when he's done with hiding. But Fitz has a few minutes ahead of him now.
Yeah, so especially knowing what we know now, right? That we've got to fight Spicy Chicken and Goddess, but we don't know which is in which spot. I might have just peeked them with one of my garbage characters. Yeah, it'll cost you like 30 seconds, but then you know exactly what boss is at what spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling when we do Vector Flagset, or when our runners decide they want to do it in the Battlegrounds, because we get to pick what flag set we want to do each week, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling if this comes up that we're going to see a lot of these type of strategies where, yeah, we're walking through KT twice, but it saves us so much time over fighting statue bosses at level 48 with one party member.
Mm-hmm. Now, the situation could be a little reversed if there was some more S tier offense found. So if Falcon had maybe stumbled across a Genji Club and another Illumina, that's one super character you slap on the side and you don't worry about. And he didn't visit the Coliseum, but we know there's Valiant Knives to be had. And if somebody had stumbled across an offering, that's two characters that can solo anything. And then you just send the other two up the middle. So there's some scenarios where I think you don't want to, hold your hand through the entire Kefka's Tower, and you could feel comfortable going one character on the sides, but it's going to take some S tier offense, not some of the A tier stuff that we're dealing with.
Yeah. All right, so here is our plus 10 magic power from Fitz.
Very nice.
When I did this practice flag set, I did this fight as soon as I possibly could. As soon as I got like 4 characters, I'm like, okay, I'm sending 2 in.
Mm-hmm. Did that work out for you?
Yeah, I mean, well, it was an easy boss. Had it been a harder boss, then things might have been a little different, So there's always that, hey, look, this is a really easy boss here. You don't need to worry about it.
And a Minerva. Minerva is a little redundant on the guy with the Paladin shield, but...
Yeah. We just have a wealth of items, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's what happens when you have 40% random chest. You're going to have a good time.
And we have a stacked Coliseum. Ragnarok,
yep.
Valiant Knife, Fixed Dice, Dragon Horns. Crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so let's see what Falcon Hit does here. If he does the okie doke to go back to Toilet Atma now, or if he saves it like Fitz did. Meanwhile, on the other corners of the screen, we have our Magitech play from Keith and Jex, so they will both be in go mode around the same time here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're going to be behind by a little bit, but again, with level 48 statue bosses, it's anybody's race, because you still got to get past those.
Yeah, and you got to remember, Jex went back twice. He has everything the Coliseum had to offer. And Keith McRocks has had the experience longer than anybody, so if just a little slip up here and there from everybody in front of them, and they're right back in this.
Jeez. That Vargas fight took 3 turns.
And that's what we're talking about.
Alright, go mode for Keith here. So he's about 5 minutes behind Falcon Hit, who's himself about like 8 minutes, so that means he's about 8 minutes behind Fitz or so.
Yeah, and 8 minutes, the way you make up 8 minutes in time is you have the guy in front of you wipe on tier 2 or tier 3, and that's how you're right back in it.
Alright, question in the chat. Is there any merit to skip getting characters once you have 4 to keep the last 3 at higher average to make splitting the party for KT viable? Yes and no. The problem is that you also are not going to have any armor or weapons for those characters, right? You tend to not buy 3 sets of, or you tend to not buy more than the stuff that your main party is going to wear, because why would you, right? Mm-hmm. So even a level 35 character, if they're not wearing anything, they're still going to go down in a couple of hits, and they're also not going to contribute much offensively to the battle. It's better to just skip their turn, because it's just wasting time with fight animations, right? So, that's my opinion anyway.
And for a lot of bosses, any actions they do take can have negative consequences just from the counterattacks they can draw. So there's no guarantee that they've even attacking, even if they're doing 800 damage, pays off in the long run because you'll eat more damage back.
Yeah. Obviously, there are exceptions to this rule,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like certain bosses, even a low-level character is going to do decent amount of damage, But for the most part, you have your 4 characters, and those are your 4 characters, and there's no reason to make the other bench players any better. Maybe on the fringe case where you have a really good 5th character, right? And you don't have calmness protection, and you want to load them up for Final Kefka. Poltergeist using stop on the one character that we want him to use stop on, so thank you very much for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so with the no support magic, we can't get rid of stop. Stop can be done in by dispel. Also the remedy spell, so never mind, we have access to that.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's found remedy yet. The item remedy will not work, but the spell will remove stop when it's inflicted on one of your characters.
Alright, so Keith is taking on Toilet Atma here in his Kefka Tower dip. Because that's
Yeah,
Ultros 1, right?
Yeah, Keith didn't split the party, so if he's fortunate enough here with his poltergeist and his all of his statue encounters, that's a good play for him to catch back up.
Yeah, so he's not going to have to walk through the tower twice.
Nope. He's still behind, even though he won't have to do that. But this is how he catches up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Poltergeist given Fitz the business that stopped Blaster.
Yeah, one counter to getting stop cast on you is reflect, but again, no support magic, so you can't cast reflect if you don't have it.
Yeah, Carbuncle, the Esper summon, would be the only way to get reflect in this particular case, and I don't think we've seen that. Jex continuing on the Magitech Factory.
Very interesting. Maybe he's going for that skip. Maybe he knows the Coliseum got the better of him, so he's got to get the skip.
Yeah, I just can't see him making up the time, though. Like, the skip saves you a few minutes, right?
The skip saves you maybe six minutes-ish, and then completing this takes 5 minutes. So on the off chance that this is 2 Espers, you save a minute.
Yeah. Well, he is going to unlock the full Magitech tree at least, so that'll be interesting. And he's going to forget some spells, so we'll see what he has to relearn.
Do you think he forgets spells when he does this? There's a pretty good chance. He hasn't looked at the flag in 90 minutes.
Does he forget that he forgets spells? Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. Alright, Bahamut summon here. Nicely done.
Very nice by Fitz. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all are not familiar with one of Free Fitz games, Worlds Collide is not the only thing he is a master of. He will dabble in just about any randomizer that is out there.
Yeah, he's hosting a beginner tournament for Chrono Trigger Jets of Time. I'm actually intrigued because Chrono Trigger is my favorite game. But the rando seems a little daunting to me because there's a lot of, maneuvering with encounter skips. Because unlike in Final Fantasy, there are battle triggers when you walk around versus just random encounters. So it seems like a steeper learning curve. But hey, maybe it's something that we could do for fun. And we're taking a ride on the Grand Train here. Okay, not so bad.
That wasn't so bad at all.
Yeah, doing almost 8,000 damage with Sword Tech 7 is very nice. Great way to get past Goddess, proccing Love Token. So, nice play there from Fitz. Jex, meanwhile, took care of Tunnel Armor as the first boss there. And we'll see what he decides to get. Oh, Cyan has 61 magic power. How? Did he get a magic plus Esper?
He
must have.
There was a magic plus 2 power plus 2 Esper.
Oh my god. So, okay, so this makes a lot more sense why Jex is doing this. Oh, it is not an Esper.
That is unfortunate.
That is our Shock Terra.
Yeah. He is very shocked to see Terra at that spot.
Alright, so Falcon Hit is going to get his plus 10 magic power back on the board here. See you later to Ultros. And it looks like he found some sort of spear for Setzer to use instead of the fixed dice.
I wonder what that spear could be, because we know he couldn't have fought Poltergeist, but Poltergeist is at the top of the tower, so maybe he has a gold spear or a stout spear?
So he did get a couple of Pearl Lances off of dragons, right? So that's probably what it is, and we've got a stopped confused Cyan. I'm not sure how to feel about that. I think we're okay.
Well, his Cyan is luckily stopped, because that's a Cyan with 68 magic power.
Yeah. And there it is. 10 spells forgotten, but Magitech upgraded. And for his party composition, he's got the Valiant Knife and the Illumina, and now he's got Magitech, so forgetting 10 spells is not that big of a deal for his party comp.
And he's going to have about 10 more chests here.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck you would need at this point in the race.
This isn't the right move, but I still love it because I'm a big fan of opening chests in the Randomizer.
Yeah. This has been one of the worst basements I've ever seen, though.
That is absolutely brutal.
You know how, like, in Zelda Link to the Past Randomizer, they give, like, an out of 10 rating for Hype Cave? That was a 0 out of 10 basement there.
Yeah, the best item in that cave was a crystal metal, and there's under no stand. It still gets slapped on and optimized, so not totally worthless for Jexy, but about as worthless as you can get.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. All right, so spicy chicken number 2 here for Fitz. Get them out in the chat if you got the emotes. Let's hope he gets better Stop Blaster luck in this fight.
Well, 0 for 1 so far, but that's okay. We got plenty of time to recover.
Meanwhile, Keith is going to go up against his first statue boss here with his party of 2. So he's got some romantic dining on the mind tonight.
And Keith's skill should be at 10 plus 4, so not quite 48, but not far south of it, so...
Yeah. Yeah, his enemies are level 41, 42, something like that.
I think that's Fringe Ultima level. He may even Ultima 2, depending on one of the statues up here up top.
All right. Fitz, our first runner. He had Goddess down, so this is the first spicy chicken down as well. So Fitz is our first runner who has cleared out our statue bosses that were French vanilla shuffled in this seed.
Very well done by Fitz.
Gao contributing to the team with health. Always nice to see for Keith. That is essentially the only reason to use one of your meat shields, is to help out your non-meat shields with items.
Items are the random abilities like Runic or Help if they happen to be on them.
See you later, Gao.
Oh no.
He just got bodied, basically. 3,600 damage. Alright, so let's see what Falcon Hit has for our spicy chicken. Going with the Flare cast.
Yeah. How many pieces of Flare do you think he has equipped?
Oh, he's got 37 and a smile.
Not the 10 minimum?
No.
Okay, great.
He does not do the bare minimum.
As we mentioned earlier, if you're over 21, our jokes and demographics are not for you, but that's okay.
Well, it's funny because I am a computer programmer in my day job, as well as being a Worlds Collide announcer in my night job. But yeah, so we reference that movie all the time, and some of the new hires just have no idea what we're talking about, and it makes me sad. Makes me sad. Office Space is that old now.
I thought he was. I thought Peter was. Peter is a programmer. I thought he was an accountant. I thought the other character was the accountant. Michael Bolton was the programmer.
Well, they work at an IT company, right? So they're
Intertech. Yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah, that was the whole Y2K thing, which was fun for a hot minute. Anyway, speaking of fun for a hot minute, Fitz is stepping up to the plate here for his final Kefka fight. I know we have Doom on one of our Espers, and we've got Calmness Protection, so the only problem is we don't have anything for Mute for Tier 2, because we did not find Siren. That would be our only source of Mute in the seed.
Yeah, with no support magic.
Alright, gonna take out Phantom for Tier 1. I like this play. Tier 1 is all offensive attacks except for like 3 or 4 of them are Polarity, or Dread, or Shockwave. So let's see if we can get rid of the long arm. Beautifully done.
You're always feeling good when that first instant death hits, and you don't have to cast it over and over again.
Yeah, this is not going to last too long.
Nope.
I was worried about Fitz's levels, but after fighting those statue bosses, he's in pretty good shape.
And the final boss levels, all parts of Kefka Tower, really with his one experience egg, and he's into his 40s now. That's more than enough. Around 35 is where you start to feel comfortable. Anything above that, you can feel really comfortable if your equipment's good. But with him being over 40, there's only thing that's going to harm him is some bad RNG or some overqueuing. Yeah,
so Tier 1 down relatively fast. We didn't even get to the part in the song where it starts to get wild. So now we're on to Tier 2, and we do have Doom. We have got some instant death, so that'll be interesting to see if that'll work. And we're going to have to slog it out with magic the hard way. Magic is the worst. He just eats up so much time with the spells that he casts. They're not even deadly, they're just annoying.
They're annoying, and then they stack. When you get, he throws out an imp, and then on turn 3, Tigerface can start getting zombie and freezing your characters. And then all of a sudden out comes a bolt through on everybody. That's when it gets nasty.
Alright, Keith eating his chicken wings here. Falcon hit, going up against Goddess.
The bad news for Keith is he's a long shot to catch Fitz. The good news is he's going toe-to-toe Falcon hit.
Yeah, so he's about one boss behind right now. And he's dealing with a party that's much smaller than Falcon hit is. We'll have to see who is on the Goddess side for his team. And Mog is just getting silly over there. He's looking a little like food poisoning.
Looking a little pale these days, even for him.
Somebody better mail him a tonic. Forget injured lad's, girlfriend's mom. Alright, so he's got Locke on that side with the Valiant Knife. So this will be an interesting Goddess fight. Making sure that his party is on 2 different sides of Goddess, that's a really good heads-up play there. Because Goddess is always a pincer attack, right? So, or rather a side attack? Is that what this is?
You pincer Goddess.
Yeah. So, by doing this, Goddess usually only attacks one side per turn. And that's probably the worst thing that you could see is first turn love token. And Mog gonna say goodbye. So now it's up to Sword Tech 1. Oh, he's got 7. He'll be fine.
He does have 7.
Alright, Falcon Hit stepping up to the plate here.
Yeah, checking back in on Fitz. Tier 2 is not going quite as fast as Tier 1.
No.
But a Tier 3, and he's back in business.
Yeah, Tier 2, it's got more parts, and we have a lot more to deal with. We can't just do an Esper summon like Falcon Hit does with Phantom and just say, hey, you can't touch me. You can't touch this.
No. Yeah, I think he's down to just magic. Fitz is, excuse me. And those are some death or near-death counters coming out of magic.
Oh God.
And that should do it. But oh, that's the one of the counters you don't want to see.
Yeah. All right, Goddess is down for Keith as well. So
Very
Keith,
well done,
not
Keith.
having to walk back through the tower a second time, is going to make up all that time on his other 2 runners that are ahead of him. So, really nice. Fitz, meanwhile,
nice.
is on to Tier 3, and I think Falcon Hit will be on to Tier 2 in just a second here.
Mm-hmm. So Keith is, again, no real threat to Fitz unless Fitz stumbles. He is, however, going toe-to-toe with Falcon Hit, and even if he doesn't claim the top spot, knowing that he has, you know, if this gap holds, that he was just minutes away from taking down the champ, and to know that he was in the realm of possibilities of beating the champ, that's a pretty good feeling. That's a pretty good showing and result.
For sure.
Always
Jack's
for sure.
saying hi to the dragon there.
Yeah.
I guess he just wanted to see what one looked like in person.
He knows we're still watching and analyzing his every move.
Yeah, so here's where things get fun with Tier 3. Girl absorbs all elements, so having to use Meteor, since it is non-elemental damage here.
Oh, a rare Meteo sighting. Excuse me, Meteor, not Meteo. And that should just about do it. One more. There we go.
Alright, so here comes Golem. That makes sense, because we are, after all, getting ready for our calmness.
Mm-hmm. At this point for Fitz, it's just a fun game of how do I count? Can I count to 40 correctly?
Yeah, so now is the time where, you know, you want to make sure you have an attack queued up to deal at least 10,000 damage to Sleep, so he doesn't go too crazy with his counterattacks and things like that.
Yeah, where a lot of runners get into trouble is where you trigger the Meteo phase and his AT bar is full or almost full, so you trigger the counter Meteo that enters the phase, and then he turns around and his ATB slaps you with another Meteo.
Yeah.
But none of that happened for Fitz.
Yeah, getting through that really well. Textbook play on how to do that. With a few seconds to spare on Cyan, too.
Indeed. We're only positing what could go wrong, and Fitz is not allowing it to happen.
No, we're trying to curse him as hard as we possibly can, I guess, huh?
At this point in time, I think it would take 3 Ultima counters for him to take down that 6,000 HP lock.
Yeah, Locke's got... He thick.
Yeah, so he's going to take 3 Ultimas to the face to go down. Let's see if it happens.
Yeah, it is a possibility. We're not out of the woods yet. Kefka is only at 1 part, as opposed to 2 or 3 or 4, like some of the other tiers, but his battle script is very intricate with counterattacks, so out comes some of the shields. We're just going to go ham. Oh, real nice. Love it. He's gonna skip over Fallen One here with this Palador.
Beautiful.
You love to see it happen. Great display of game knowledge here. And Keith on Tier 2, as well as Falcon Hit, who's getting the 10 hits.
Mm-hmm. Skipping a Havoc Wing as well. It's just great. Not only is it great name knowledge, it's great awareness of what you have and how you can use it.
Sets her tank in a hyperdrive, absorbing it like a ShamWow. And here we go. Here comes Goner. So Kefka's not going to counter during this phase, so we'll see if... Yeah, we got some more shields. We are going to throw the kitchen sink at Kefka here.
Yeah, it's the final countdown for Fitz. That should do it.
Yes! Boom shakalaka wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. 1:43:45 is the time for 1 free Fitz. Get your GGs in chat. Really nicely played this seed. Really well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are inquiring with Fitz right now if he would like to hop on with us and talk about the race he just won.
Yeah, go give him a follow. There we go.
Yeah, and again, that's one free hit, one free fits. Excuse me, one free fits, as you can see in the link to his Twitch in the chat. Not just a Worlds Collide veteran, a veteran of many other randomizers. Give that young man and champion a follow.
All right, so Falcon hit now on tier 3. Casted his Fenrir, and just making sure that, again, he has enough attack to do around 10,000 or so damage to push Sleep over this phase. But unfortunately, not enough there with that Sword Tech 7.
Yeah, out comes Drops of Jupiter.
Love it. Alright, it looks like Keith is going to use his Phantom here on hit for 10 hits.
Very nice move by Keith. Yeah, not only does that save you from taking damage, but the animation is just a little scratch, and it pops up the mistext, so it saves you a few seconds.
Oh, well,
oh no.
It would have.
Yeah.
Strago also struggle busting there with 19 HP. But Falcon hit finally takes down tier 3 onto Final Kafka.
Very nice.
Lunar Chimera with the raid. Appreciate that. Thank you. And welcome in.
Ladies and gentlemen, one free fits will be joining us as soon as he showers after the race.
Yeah, he's got to make sure that he's prepared.
Yeah, he's getting his prime energy drink to place on the table. We're getting the backdrop with the logos behind him.
Remember to hydrate, folks. Hydrate.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Strago finally fell over.
Welcome on in, one free fits, the winner of tonight's community race. How you feeling? You just took down some pretty good runners. How you feeling, Fitz?
Pretty good. I was a little surprised that I was the first one to get that done. But I also felt like I was running pretty good. I got over some big bosses early by throwing everything I had in my bag very hard at them. And that seemed to pay off for me. And I'll be curious to see, because I found an ammo weapon and an experience egg. I think a little bit off path.
Yep.
Yeah, only Keith found that experience egg as well. I believe everybody found the Atmo weapon,
Okay.
but only you and Keith found the egg. And Keith found the egg very early before he even took a fight, so he's had the entire game. So
yeah, I've noticed with the 2x experience, it's harder to get those levels, and I had to fight and scrap and take disgusting serpent trench scullion fights to get the experience that I felt like I needed to get past the statues that I knew I was going to have to face at the statue spots.
Speaking of the statues, let me ask you this, Fitz. We noticed you didn't like to take them on solo. You sent the whole party up the middle. At any point in time where you're thinking after you finish the middle, do I take one of my meat shields and peek what the bosses are? If I throw my left one and I see it's Goddess, that way when I come back I know where Goddess and Poltergeist are. Did that ever cross your mind?
I did think about it, and it was that would have saved me a little bit of time. Or at least I could have picked my more equipped party to send after Poltergeist. But yeah, I guess it didn't cross my mind. I was like, well, let's just get out of here. I felt like I could take whatever was wherever. And then so I had to move a couple things around, and then it was fine. I probably should have went with my stronger party first. That would be my regret, and that's where I felt like if I would have ran over with Locke, who was, beasting in, and Setzer, who was also just swinging swords, then I would have got through Goddess and then passed stuff over out of just paranoia. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I feel like it was going really well, and I overcame a couple of bumps pretty quickly without losing a bunch of time.
Yeah, for sure. That Doomgaze
getting
fight.
the wins.
I was gonna say that
Doomgaze
very early on that tripped up a few of our runners. So you were the first person to have Setzer and go to Daryl's tomb and get Golem. There was Fenrir available at Tritok Cliff, but that certainly could have been, huge had you been, the first runner to get it and nobody else had that calmness protection. But yeah, very, very well done with a lot of the Esper casts and summons that you did. Same thing with Goddess with the sword tech, right? Switching off when you got the love token. So, but yeah, so about the statue bosses, right? Were you just thinking, I need to get more levels onto my entire party, so let's walk through the tower twice? Was that always the plan, or was it the plan once you figured, hey, I'm going to be a little under-leveled here?
Right, like honestly, it was I made the decision when I got to Kefka Unlock. I had a second of being like, do I keep going and go for the, because I knew my levels were junk. Like Locke was fine, everyone else was like 30, and so
yeah, same thing with the toilet Atma spot. You went and did that towards the end of the seed. Did you, if you were like a more magic reliant party, would you have done that check
Jamie,
earlier on?
About to wrap up now. I'll come get you. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Like really, since I
too.
only had Strago using magic, and I'd already magic power 2 boosted that fool to like 80.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, 10's not gonna really nudge it much there. Yeah, this Flagset was very interesting because different party comps would force some of those different routing decisions. I probably got fortunate too because I only ran into, I think, a single dead check on my journey.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was the Burning House, which is, one of your favorites.
But again, I was like, well, the experience sucked in there too. I was kind of, that was the bummer moment of the run, was like, for real, like I didn't get anything. I didn't advance progression. That probably would have been worse if it was like some joke boss, like at the end, and then I get an Esper, and I'm like, oh crap. Well, I got no levels, and everything else got 3. Now what? So, all things considered, I'll give it a B-. Burning House overall. It still wasn't that bad.
No.
What are your thoughts overall on the Flagset? What did you like? What didn't you like? What feedback do you have for other runners when they run it in the future and try to conquer Vector?
Yeah, I think that minus magic power early makes the opening a bit trickier. The more generous percent randomness on the chests was really encouraging. Like my plan was like, I'm gonna loot a lot until I find enough money to get some rods or like super balls. Like I was hoping to find some of those things, and I did. There were super balls in like multiple shops too.
They were everywhere.
And then so it was like, all right, I found some tools. I got that Illumina for free. I was like, okay, well that's a big tool. And then the snipers were for sale, so it was like, all right, now we just gotta find levels and hope that we don't run into anything too nasty. I was like, oh, Doomgaze, there goes all my consumables. Well, I hope there's nothing else too nasty. And then I ran into like Funbaba after that. That was kind of a long one, but thankfully no Magimaster, because I was in the back of my head, I was like, what is my plan for that fool? Because like I got Scan, I guess. Like that was my plan.
Sometimes
like,
that's why we give you Scan all.
But yeah, I had a fun time. I felt like, I was playing well and I was going fast, and I don't really have a sense of what a good time for these flag sets are, so I think I was a little bit more relaxed instead of being like, oh, I feel behind, I need to rush. I kind of just played
Yeah. Well, with
my game, which is like
with 710, you
power.
know that you've got a lot more. You're gonna get a longer time, but how much longer is the time than normal, right? So.
For sure.
Any other final thoughts before we drag Falconhit and Keith in?
No, I had a fun time. I will listen in on the stream. I want to catch the end of the race, and thanks for putting it on.
All right, sounds good. Do you have anything you want to plug before you go?
Oh yeah, so I am helping to organize a new player program over in the Chrono Trigger Jets of Time community. It's a pretty fun game. We've got some crossover with Worlds Collide, and so if you've seen it, you've been curious, interested, we've got signups going for the next couple of weeks, and then just like a fun, laid-back sort of event to help people learn and get paired with mentors and whatnot. So ctjot.com is the site where you get to the Discord. Signups are pinned in general, and yeah, GG's to all my racers that have finished and are gonna finish as well.
Sounds good. I am definitely interested, so I might take you up on that offer. And thanks for volunteering to run. Can't have the race without the runners. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Mm-hmm. Good night, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate you.
All right, so let's drag in our other two racers that have finished while we were too busy blabbering on. Falconhit and Keith McRocks. GG's to you both for finishing this seed.
GG's. That was a fun seed. And by fun, I mean kind of boring.
Yeah, so let's start with you, Falconhead. A lot of roadblocks you hit there between the Doomgaze fight and then a lot of struggles you had with bosses, confusing characters and getting all sorts of disgusting status ailments, so perseverance was the name of the game for you here.
Oh yeah. It's just one of these seeds where you have middling offense. I think I was using Sniper and Ice 2 and GP Ray for the mid game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just slow.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that slow for Keith. Well, it was a little bit in the beginning, but Keith went to the Coliseum where there were goodies abound. Fixed dice, Valiant Knives, Ragnaroks, although I think Jex is the one that found the Ragnarok. But yeah,
Dragonhorn as well for Keith.
So Keith, tell us about, after you pop in the Coliseum, you're thinking, wow, I got all these goodies. Plus, you, I think, were one of the only runners that found the experience egg with the Atma weapon as well.
I forgot I even had an Atma weapon. That was so early. Yeah, I didn't find anything, like, I didn't have a reason, but yeah, I had the same problem. I had Sniper, which wasn't doing great, and GP Rain, which was effective. And then I still didn't feel great, so I just kind of followed the progression and found the Illumina in the Coal Engine, and I was like, well, I was planning on going to the Coliseum, so I was not selling anything because I really couldn't find anything to buy. So I kept everything just in case, and then hit that, found the Illumina, which I was happy because I was like, I probably need this to actually get my actual fights. Headed up there, and then found Valiant Knife, found that. I already had the Dragonhorn from some other time, so yeah, at that point I'm golden because I've got. Then the only thing I needed to do, then I found the Magic Power +2 Esper, which is what Strago needed to do something. But yeah, once everybody else had something real solid at that point, it just took a while to get there. So yeah,
so the two of you also had different strategies about Kefka's tower. So Falcon Hit, you decided to overload one party and clear out the middle path, basically, and then do the walk back through the tower the second time. Were you worried about the statue bosses with your party comp and the levels that you had?
Oh, for sure. One, I didn't feel good about my characters. They couldn't really carry by themselves because you know that there's a statue boss at the end. And in my mind, it's going to be faster to... I'm going to save at least 3 minutes by having a second, like, strong party member versus sending a solo, and then if you die once, then that's it, right?
Hmm.
You were better off just overloading one side and then splitting into two, because the way I think about it is it costs 3 minutes, and if you save 3 minutes, then it's just better.
Yeah, plus you get lots of extra levels on your party. Meanwhile, Keith, I think your team, the levels were pretty good, you know, because you had the experience egg and whatnot, and you decided not to split your party, and I think you doing that allowed you to catch up some time to some of the other runners, right? So talk about what your thoughts were with the offense that you had, because I think it was definitely better than most of the other runners in the race.
Yeah, this is the opposite. The stream last night, I was really tentative and did the overload. Tonight, I had at least something for everyone. The whole goal, since I found the egg, was to just get Locke all the way up, whether it was to help with his Valiant Knife or the Sword Tech, which both panned out depending. So if he had a lot of health, the Sword Tech was doing a lot. So he was fine. And then I was confident enough in the jumping fixed dice Setzer. And then I think with an Illumina plus, Strago was going to be fine because I was planning to get that magic. And I assume, most people did the toilet Atma spot was fine and easy. So that, adding that, plus he had earrings on. So by then he was actually doing really good magic damage.
Right.
So I was not too worried. And it worked out really well because I gave Celeste that stunner and she was able to stop Poltergeist, which
Yep.
I didn't need it because I didn't want to give Locke the Minerva just in case I was going to go VK route, and so she wore it, so she didn't even get hurt either. So that ended up being extremely easy. The HP was the problem, but he was still dealing, they were still dealing plenty of damage on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So, that could have, I guess it could have gone worse, but I don't think there was too many scenarios where that was going to go horribly, unless it was some weird, like the Guardian spot, which ended up being really easy. But I was strong enough where I think this is worth just going and not having to walk back.
Yeah, so question for both of you, and we'll start with Falcon Hit. So the Esper is only teaching 2 spells in this particular case, and all of the other restrictions on magic. Had we not had that magic power +2 Esper in the seed, how soon would you normally go to get your +10 magic power back?
I thought about it when I had 5 characters, but I don't know. I definitely should have done it earlier because Cyan was doing no damage. I feel like he had negative magic power.
Pearlwind healed tier 3 for 9 HP on Jex's screen. That's the lowest I've ever seen.
Nice. But yeah, I think the biggest downfall in the seed was dying to Doomgaze when I did. Because if I did Doomgaze, I would have Fire 3 much earlier.
Yeah.
Because Fire 3 was on the Doomgaze spot.
Correct.
And if I had Fire 3, then the seed would have been easy, right? I would have just gotten my magic and then had Fire 3 to deal damage instead of relying on Ice 2.
Yeah, you know what the other thing is? You also got bailed out sort of at Tritok because Golem was at Daryl's tomb. So had you not gotten Fenrir, that might have made tier 3 a lot more interesting for you too. Right?
I had Phantom. It just let me use Phantom on tier 1.
Gotcha. And then Keith, same question for you about when to go get your plus 10 magic power in this seed. Since your party was like stacked between Illumina and fixed dice and offering, you were not going to go do that till the very end, right?
Yeah, I it was in my, the back of my mind. Basically, once I got maybe 5, but I got all that offense before then, so I was just going to plan on doing it on my way through, since I still had one character, relying on magic, and I had Fire 3, so I was just kind of waiting it out. But once I got the offense, there's no reason to go jump in there and then jump out. It was just easier that way. But it was definitely a thought as I was running around, trying to figure out where to go. But it was I felt really good when I peeked Fanatic's Tower and I didn't see the character, unlike yesterday. So that was good. I was really not looking forward to that, if that was going to be the case. So
I was ready for that. If there was a tower, if there was a character there, I had the Super Balls ready.
Yeah, I knew where they were, and I didn't want to go that way. But I think, like, the no support magic is not like crazy. It's you obviously in the final fight. It's really nice to have those, especially for 2. But overall, it, like, not having the black offense magic is way worse. So this one is it's hindrance. Like, it's a lot of it is just just extras. It's nice to have some of those, the mute, the stop, quick, but they're not entirely necessary. It's way more important to have the offense.
Glue, you got any other final questions for either Falcon Hit or Keith?
I do have, Keith, if you didn't notice, you had a Keith versus Keith showdown challenge in the chat from Tornado Keith. If you want to check that out, I'd love to do comps for that. That would not be confusing at all. But overall, I know you guys are both registered for the Battlegrounds event. How excited for y'all are? How excited for you guys are that? How excited for you guys are for the Battlegrounds event?
I'm excited for both of us. Is that?
I am also
Oh,
excited for both of us.
I think I've enjoyed the I've done a lot of these warm up ones, so I think it's been great. I've enjoyed running a lot of different flags, so it's been great. I just like running them, and I like doing them live. So it's more fun for me that way. I don't mind doing the asyncs either, but I these are fun. I think I'm always up for it. So it's been good so far. As I said before, the variety is the thing. I just doing something a little different is nice.
I like the sync races too, because I feel like when you get a chance to compare yourself against champions like Obi and Jexrox, you get to see where you stand against those type of guys, and really use them as a measuring stick. I guess Falcon Hit too, but whatever.
Yo, nice. All I will say about this seed is that don't be afraid. If you have bad offense, don't be afraid to look for better offense.
Mm-hmm.
When you saw, which was it? At a certain point in the seed, you saw me looking Coliseum. You saw me doing dragons. Just get better offense, because if I went into the tower at the level I was at with the confidence I had, I'm pretty sure I had like a 20% chance of getting through Kefka. And I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going to get through this.
All right, well, we appreciate both of you guys joining us. Falcon, we appreciate you coming out and racing with us. Keith, thank you for volunteering again to race on back-to-back nights. I know how exhausting that can be, to get in front of a live audience and give it a go. But we appreciate you guys. Anything y'all want to plug before y'all head out? Falcon, we'll start with you.
If you haven't joined the Battlegrounds event, please join the Battlegrounds event.
That's a Good plug. I'm going to throw the link in the chat for the registration and the event information. Never mind, the Nightbot blocked it.
Bodied.
Okay. It's a bot for everything, I tell you what.
Not too much. Thanks for the restream putting together. Thanks for the admins organizing. As always, it's fun. I don't mind. I've been around long enough. These are I don't stress anymore about these races, but it's fun. And then I heard it after I left last night, but I know Fitz plugged it last night. I am signed up for the Jets of Time, Chrono Trigger Jets of Time camp. So,
Very
I'll
nice.
be doing that to look. I've been wanting to learn. I think that'll be a good way. So another thing to look forward to.
Thank you again, gentlemen. Yeah.
GG's.
Jaxie, is
I
there any
was,
point in the... I'm sorry, let me introduce you with a question. Is there any point in that seed where you felt a little frustrated? Maybe some parts where something went a little haywire for you? You'd have to talk about.
I really wanted Durgan Dice. Really wanted the Dragon Dice. That's why I went back multiple times to try and get the fixed dice to go with that Dragon Horn for Setzer. And it just didn't happen. So that was definitely frustrating for me. Especially since he had natural jump, so, there would have been nice multipliers going on with, jumping, plus the Atlas armlet. So, but it didn't get to happen.
Yeah, the Coliseum was I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you. Go ahead, Jaxie.
Finding the Magic +2 Esper was actually that was a savior for the seed. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely worth him using that tech missile. I probably should have gone for skip, but I'm just like, let's just get moving. I had my fun. I got my M-Tech missile. I'm happy. Let's go. That was my thought process behind that. Because I hit it. Oh, absolutely. Because if I got an Esper at the end of M-Tech Factory, I would have hauled my butt right up to Tritok. Because that was a high chance of being an Esper. Very high chance of that being an Esper. And yeah, because that would have put me at 13 Espers if M-Tech 3 was an Esper. So Tritok would have done it for me.
What are your thoughts on the flags in general? What did you like? What didn't you like?
The flags are fine. Just that this was just a whirlwind of bad luck on my side for this one. I mean, Tyrannosaurus just messing up my day. When I hit the reset button to try and go after him a second time, and I end up in Cyan's Dream, I'm just like, oh no, I forgot the safety save. That was That was probably the most frustrating moment of the whole seed,
Mhm.
actually. Having to go back, fight Rizzopass all over again, and then just keep slogging along. I was actually really surprised that I was starting the statue battles and nobody had finished yet.
Mhm.
That surprised me.
Well, what had happened was Falcon Hit and Fitz, they had both took the full party up the middle, and then split because they were in the mid 30s and they had pushed scaling up over. One of them had pushed scaling all the way up to 48, and the other one scaling was in the low 40s. So they were quite a bit behind. So if they had went 1v1 on the sides, they were risking not being able to get through. So that's where you made up some time there.
Ah, okay. That explains a little bit.
Mhm.
So they both decided to double dip.
Yeah.
That's rough having to rerun that whole sequence of Kefka's tower, just having to run around that thing. 'Cause that's what, like 3 minutes to get back to the statues,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
or
definitely a few minutes.
something
Yeah.
like. Yeah,
Yeah. But
that
sometimes.
that's a hard choice to make.
Yeah, but sometimes when the scaling gets away from you, because all of the bosses that were out there, they didn't give a lot of XP, and then all of the bosses that you do fight are scaling at a higher level than you can get XP. It's just it just got away from some guys.
Oh, okay. But as opposed to me, where I had levels coming out of every orifice that I
We lost
had.
you there, Jexy, for a second. Your mic may have cut out.
It happens. Well, yeah, it is what it is. It was a good seed. I had fun with it towards the end there, just getting the M-Tech and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so now that you've played through, I think, almost all of the seeds here, do you have sort of your favorite battlegrounds that you like to play and ones that you think you'll probably be avoiding?
So some of these battlegrounds. Oh, excuse me, yawning over here. One of the battlegrounds that I tested had me concerned. With the flags, and that was the Velt. And when I did my playtest, I somehow ended up overpowered. Somehow. And just kind of rolled through the seed without much in the lines of issues.
Mm-hmm.
Zozo is an annoying.
Yeah.
The
monster in a box thing.
Not even. Well, there's a whole bunch of Zozo that's really annoying. There's all kinds of stuff.
Is Zozo the mirror match one as well, or is that a different one?
Yeah.
No, that's Triangle Island. I don't know.
That's Triangle.
Yeah.
So the monster in a box, the first time I played it, that caught me off guard, running into covert meta-am fight.
That one.
And if I remember the restream correctly, a bunch of us wiped to that.
Oh yeah, that was fun for everybody.
Yeah, I was calling that, and I remember being very confused about what was happening, but it was very fun.
Also,
the other
Normalize
really
and
annoying...
Distort is on in that flag set too.
Yep, that's another.
Sorry, we got Robot Jex here for a second.
Once he gets a cookie in, he'll be good to go.
Ass block. Oh, my bad. Yeah.
All good. You just have to
Zozo
repeat
clock
what you said.
Is another one of those annoying. Again?
Nope, you're good now.
You're good.
You're not a Zozo clock fan.
So Zozo clock is another aspect of the. Not a Zozo clock fan. And the other one is all the characters getting swapped around.
Yeah.
So if you have Terra, it's actually Strago. Or
right.
If you pick up Cyan, it's Gao. It's just like, this is hard to keep track of. Because I had, the last one that I did recently, I had Yeti who was Gao. I was just like, I started going up to the Yeti check. I try talking. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, not this.
Womp womp.
Because I wasn't paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Avoid Zozo.
it's a fun seed. Zozo is fun, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
With all those little things going on.
And then, what was your favorite out of the ones that you had played?
I might have to. Triangle Island was a good time, if I remember that one correctly.
Yeah, recruit character, get upgrade, get a boost. That was that one. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think that was. Wasn't there another one that was complete so many checks and you get MTech upgrade? No, I'm thinking of
Triangle Island is
Blackjack
KT
draft
skip.
flag.
Yeah, Triangle Island is also Kefka Tower skip at 21 checks, so it's similar to that. I have not done the Velt one yet, so that's one maybe I'll bite off.
Oh, give it a try. Give it a try.
The Coliseum.
Oh, yeah.
The Coliseum one is Dragon's Neck is fun with the auto berserk.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I totally abused that.
Yep.
What? Auto berserk?
Yeah.
You can definitely expect me to be challenging people on Dragon's Neck and other various seeds with this whole event. I'm not. Yes, I'm going to do the async races as the big group and all that.
Right.
But I'm totally going for the accolades and just doing the 1v1s or group just impromptu group matches and just having fun with it on everybody.
Should be a lot of fun for sure.
Are any accolades given out for the qualifying round?
No. That it starts when the actual other part starts. So here, let me pull up this other graphic now. So yeah, during the actual Battlegrounds, not during Uprising. So there is still time to register. Registration ends this Sunday, the 20th, and there's still time to run the qualifier for slackers like myself. Maybe I'll do it tonight after. But for the Battlegrounds, that time,
yeah,
the 20th through October 29th, that is when that's when you could do the accolades of streaming and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that's not on this little pictorial here that's in the rules. This is just basically a bird's eye view of the tournament or event rather. So if you want to check it out, check out the rules and stuff like that. So any other final thoughts, drinks for Jex?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jexy. Go ahead, and we'll get you a cookie and get you on your way.
Is it laced with cyanide and love?
You'll find out when you wake up.
Excellent.
Or don't wake up.
So, anybody who's new to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, please come join our Discord, or anybody who would like to learn Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, join our Discord at ff6worldscollide.com. Give our Restream team and our runners a follow on their Twitches and, all that fun stuff. And if you join the community, if you ever got questions, please feel free to ask. We got a ton of people that are willing to answer any questions, help you out with strategies and all that happy fun stuff. And also, GG's, thanks for tuning in.
Very well said, my friend.
We got one thing to plug, I think, Jack. So we are going to be a part of a special stream this Tuesday. Mark your calendar down, 7-ish p.m. Eastern time on this very Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide channel. We are going to be showcasing something that's been in beta for quite a while now. It is multi-world archipelago 2v2 racing on Worlds Collide. So basically, there's Team 1 and Team 2, and two runners rather per team. So Runner 1 on Team 1 can find stuff for Runner 2 on his team in his world. So, if Jex and I were on a team, let's say, I could find his Sabin at my, Kefka at Narsh. So it's going to be pretty awesome. So I'm happy to be showcasing it. Jex, you're going to be running in it. So.
Oh yeah. There's going to be copious amounts of suffering. I have done multi-worlds before, but not with Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. This will be a first for me.
It's a lot of fun.
But I have done it with Super Metroid Legend of Zelda combo randomizer. And I did it as a 6-player multi-world, and it took me like 11 hours to get the thing done because Burger King mode.
Yeah. That'll tend to happen, right? So if you're interested in learning more about yet another way to play Worlds Collide, tune in on Tuesday. So I'll see you on Tuesday, Jex. That'll be a lot of fun. So thanks again for racing as well. Can't have the races without the runners, so appreciate that. And we'll catch you on the Battleground.
Yep. GG's.
GG's. All right, Drinks Glue, we got anything else we need to chat about before we send these people on their merry way?
Are we sure the Empire is even evil? Are we sure, like, the people didn't vote for the Emperor to be installed and placed into power?
I'm pretty sure by the term Emperor, that's not a voted position.
Well, unfortunately there's no way to know for sure, so we'll still throw it out there.
Well, funnily enough, I actually Googled Gestal before, and it's like, are you sure you don't mean this? And it's like, yes, I am a degenerate that plays Final Fantasy VI, so I meant that. And let me read you the first line from his biography here. Where'd it go? For some reason, okay, I can't find the article that it was, but it's basically like Gestal is the antagonist and he just wants to conquer the world. So yeah, that sounds pretty evil to me. I don't know.
I don't know. The Invector, they're pretty wealthy. They seem pretty well off, and then he's got a lot of loyal subjects. So
there you go. Well,
you never know for sure.
You never know. So I'm guessing your allegiances is more towards the Empire than the Returners for Battlegrounds.
Oh, I'm on whatever team Jex Rock is not.
There it is, drawing that line in the sand there. So
no, I chose no preference. I was just positing. I do have I forget what they're called, but I do have the book that's Final Fantasy 6, 4, 5, and 6. Has a bunch of the artwork and lore. I'm gonna look into that before this event starts. I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Getting another experienced player's thoughts on it.
For sure. It's been a very long. I never beat the vanilla game, but of course I've beaten this one plenty of times. So there we go. All right. So with that, we are going to say goodbye to you, but you can say hello to Turdsman. He is currently running the qualifying placement round. So if you haven't run it like myself, then this is the only time I'll ever tell you, turn the Twitch off. Get out of here. We don't want you here. But if you do want to stick around and continue to watch some Worlds Collide action, we'll send you on over to Turdsman. And like I said, we will be back on this channel Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time for our multi-world showcase. So be sure to check us out then. And we'll get out of here. Thank you, Drinks Glue, for doing commentary with me. Always appreciate having another voice of reason in the booth that we could laugh at the precarious positions that our runners get into during our races, right?
Yes, indeed. And thank you for having me.
All right. We'll catch you on the next one. And bye-bye now.